Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin the service. Can everybody please put your cell phones to silent mode at this time? Thank you, everybody, for coming, and for the people that are online. Very unique situation to have a rabbi officiate on his parents' funeral. 6 weeks ago, I ran my father's funeral as a funeral director, but I can't imagine being able to stand up here like Rabbi Doug is about to do. We're gathered here to say goodbye to Barbara Zelden. I want to extend my condolences to the family, husband Stuart, children Rabbi Doug and his wife Lois, Mark, Craig and his wife Janie, and grandchildren Ilana and husband Menachem, Rachel, Sarah, Leah, Abby, Janine, and Joshua. And sister and brother-in-law Karen and Bill, who are making their way back to Chicago, but due to unforeseen circumstances won't be here for the funeral. Maybe they're watching online. And brother-in-law Ken and Chuck, may you be comforted from all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And now, my friend Rabbi Doug Zelden.
Psalm. Yisrael David, Adonai Elohim Hatzar, Yosdeshi Yavitzei Yameinu Choshen Aleini, Nafshi Shovin Yankin Gemad Tzedek, Lema'an Shemo, Kam Ki Elech B'Gates Alaves, Lo Hirara Ki Ata Imadi, Shivtecha Mishamtecha Em Yenachamuni, Taroch Lefanai Shulchan Neged Soverai, Tishata Vashem Roshi Kosir Revaya, Ach Tov Achesed Yudifuni Kol Yemei Chayai, V'shavti B'veis Adonai Liorech Yamim. I'd like to join me in the translation on the inside cover of your folders, the 23rd Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The next psalm is Psalm 121. As I've mentioned so many times in the last 5 months, this particular psalm is the same psalm that we're saying every day in synagogues over the world. Also praying for God's watchful eye and protection for our soldiers, Chayalim in Israel and Gaza, for peace, the release of our captives. Shir lama los esa enai, el harim be'ayim Ezri. Ezri meim Adonai, Yosei Shemayim va'aretz. Ayitain lamot raglach al yanu shobracha. Hine lo yanu lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shobracha Adonai tzilch al yad yaminecha. Yom HaShemesh le'yakecha v'yarech b'layla. Adonai yishmarcha mikara yishmar es nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzeis vo'echa v'yatav yad olam. I will lift mine eyes unto the mountains. What is the source of my help? The source of my help is the Lord, creator of heaven and earth. He will not let you falter. Your guardian does not slumber. Surely the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. He is your right hand to protect you, the Lord your keeper, your shelter. The sun will not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. The Lord will preserve your soul. He will guard you going and coming, from this time forth and forevermore. Dear friends and family, I don't know how to say how much it means to me that every single one of you are here. Most of you know how dear your relationship or your friendship are to me and to my family. And many of you who are here today, I'm surprised that you were able to be here, which makes it even more meaningful. It's been a rough week, running beyond rough last few months. Many of you know, as we've talked, those of us who have had the opportunity, that my mother took a fall and infections followed that, and she fought amazingly because we didn't think she'd be with us for the last 4 weeks or so. One of the reasons she was with us as long as she is because of my daughter Ilana. Many of you know is recently received her doctorate in pharmacy and has been working as a pharmacist for a number of months, and she took a look at the medications and the antibiotics that the hospital was giving her, and they were wrong. And she had them change her antibiotics, and all of a sudden she took a turn for the better. Unfortunately, the infections did in her organs. So, it's traditional to give a hesped, a eulogy, and such a eulogy is not allowed outside of family because today is Shushan Purim. Today is a Jewish holiday. A minor Jewish holiday, but a Jewish holiday. And on a Jewish holiday, there are certain things that are set aside. And one of those is a non-family member giving a eulogy. So, Barbara Zelden. My mother was born to Seymour Schmidt and Ethel Greenfield in Chicago. On July 19th of 1937 on the English calendar, and with us for a short 86 years. The family lived on Virginia in Hollywood Park, right at the corner really of Peterson and Lincoln. That street is now a cul-de-sac. It wasn't when I was a little boy. Virginia's a cul-de-sac, right? And right next to there, right now, is a new kosher restaurant. Who would know? For those who've been to Rita's, right next door to where their home was. She went to Jameson Elementary School on Bryn Mawr, and Von Steuben High School, and got her bachelor's from Roosevelt University in Education. Maybe it was Roosevelt College then?
No, university.
It was university already, all right. She didn't drive until the late 1960s when I started Hebrew school. And I remember just maybe within the first few weeks of her having her driver's license, I was bringing something for a class activity, like a drink or something, when we were having a party in Siyum, in Hebrew school, and I had poured a glass of Hawaiian punch or something for myself in the car, and I spilled it. The next thing you know, we were in the neighbor's bushes. My father paid for those bushes. That was her only accident ever. But it was mine. I was born and we lived with both sets of grandparents for short periods of time, and then we got an apartment in the Austin neighborhood on the west side, near Central and Lake. Can you imagine? I used to play out in the non-fenced courtyard on the west side, and I used to walk 3/4 of a block to the Green Line L station to wait at the bottom of the stairs for my dad to come home from work, watching him come down the steps when it was time for him to return from teaching. What were you doing then?
I worked for Market Cement.
Oh, you didn't do that first? Okay. Anyway, I remember it well though. I used to literally walk to the L by myself, a little 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old. I used to walk that 3/4 of a block to the L station and wait downstairs for him. We moved in 1963 to Hollywood Park at the corner of Spalding and Bryn Mawr. One of the things I remember as a young boy in Austin still, and in Spalding and Bryn Mawr where we lived, there were 2 shuls by us. Rabbi Richard's shul, where Rabbi Salvation is now, and the former Lev Sameach, Rabbi Elisha Tversky of blessed memory shul, were both within a few blocks of us. Every Jewish holiday, I remember all the men walking with their black coats and black hats, and on the west side too, right down Central Avenue, on Yom on Jewish holidays. I remember that. My mother said, "We don't go out and play on Jewish holidays. It's a solemn day." I would walk from our apartment at Bryn Mawr and Spalding another 2 blocks by myself at 4 years old or so with a dime or a quarter, usually without permission, because down the street, right near Kimball, across the street from Peterson School, was the Hollywood Bowl candy store. And if anybody remembers, my favorite candy that I used to bring that dime or quarter to buy was candy dots, which were on a piece of paper and you peel off the little dots. I used to do it, and I would walk back home, and they would say in the store, "Where's your mother?" And I'd say, "She's at home." And then my brother Mark, one day next to us were two little grocery stores, an Ann's and a Jewel, both the size of a 7-Eleven. And Mark walked into the Jewel one day with his blanket, which he carried with him everywhere. The next thing we knew, because we thought that he was just in the backyard, which was fenced in, next thing we knew, a policeman because everybody knew everybody in the small neighborhood, was bringing him home with a Twinkie in his hand from the jewel store because the lady in the grocery store knew exactly who he was. Just little memories. I would also take my tricycle 3 blocks down the street to play in the sandbox in Hollywood Park by myself. My mom would take me everywhere shopping on the CTA, on the bus, since she didn't drive. And one of my greatest memories was that my mom and dad would take me, my dad drove, we had this car, and then when we moved finally to Des Plaines in 1965, we had our Rambler station wagon with the push button, where you press the push button to go and drive to park, and I used to play with them and push them through, and my dad had to fix them all the time. But he used to take me to my grandparents who lived just about 2 miles away. Over on Virginia. And I would spend weekends there. I would sleep there with my young Aunt Karen, my mom's sister, who was a young girl living there, and she'd sort of take care of me. And every Sunday, we would go to visit my great-grandfather, Hyman Greenfield O'Shullum in Albany Park. He was the Frummer in the family. He was the Gabbai of his shul, and a great role model in that way. But he pretty much only spoke Yiddish. So I could never communicate with him. So they would go and visit him, and I would just sit and eat ice cream. But one thing that I do remember is that my mother's cousins and aunts and uncles would often come over on Sundays, and that's how I knew my mother's side of the family, was from seeing them at my great-grandfather's house when I was a little boy. And that was certainly, Audrey's there somewhere, used to be there. She used to be there also. Great memories, and when he passed away, just another memory is that he couldn't get into his apartment after he died. It was 1963, and my dad brought me there. My dad forced a window open and pushed me through the window, and I went around and unlocked the door and opened it up for them. And then, for many years, his black and white console TV was our TV and displays until we got our first color TV. Just little memories from growing up in my mother's family. Often, we would see family members. There were family get-togethers and things like that. My brother Mark was a toddler when we lived on Spalding, and Craig was born there. My memories are sometimes more vivid of my toddler days than from 10 or 20 years ago, interestingly, because I remember those memories vividly. I'm not telling you things people told me, but things that I remember. I remember my mother brushing my teeth with me when I was a little boy, giving me breakfast every morning, and leaving my daily clothes out for me. And I don't know if Mark remembers this or not, but when we lived in Des Plaines, we had a railing that went up below the stairs. And there were 3 sets of clothes laying out every day before we got up to go to school. Even she did that probably until we were in 5th or 6th grade, maybe. She always put our clothes out for us. Sometimes matching sweaters, which we hated. So in 1965, when we moved to Main Township, Des Plaines, my parents were founding and very active members of Main Township Jewish Congregation, which currently merged into the building we are today, which is why we wanted to have the service here today, because this eventually became the show that they supported for so many years and were lifetime members. And I see a other former presidents of the Schuler activity. I see Marty Levy here today. Other former presidents in the room. Marty's the only one right now. Wow. And who else? Myrna's here too? Myrna's three former presidents here today. Very nice. And people I davened with since I was a little boy growing up, which is wonderful to see. My mom helped me with, or maybe did most of my homework for me when I was in Mark Twain School. That's a truism. She attended PTA meetings and all of our Little League games. She was a very staunch Cub fan. She knew every player. And even when she had very little vision or almost no vision, she still had the TV on in California, watching every single Cub game and knowing exactly what was going on. The volume was always loud, so she could hear it. She never missed a Cub game. My dad made sure that whatever satellite company in the 3 homes they lived in throughout their 45 years or so in California, that satellite or cable company had WGN at the time. And so they always had the Cubs on, and then whatever that network is now that carries the Cubs. Marquee, right. She started working in Chicago Public Schools. Finally, as we grew a bit older, and eventually took her full-time position at Peabody School at Augusta, Milwaukee, in Chicago. She supported all we did, and often gave me money anytime I needed it, even as an adult when I visited California. She and my dad got a car for me when I was 16. It was theirs, but I drove it all the time. And I still have the same license plates I had in 1976. GM for Gulfville State Bank, where they were issued from. All of us. She was a big Elvis fan, and I still have all her 45s. Life, as I look back, was great living in Des Plaines. Terry and Andy and Melissa, who was my father's partner teaching at Lane Tech and at Ida Crown, as my dad did chemistry and he did physics. It's their dad, and we lived just a few doors down from each other, and they can attest that we had great lives. We had great lives growing up in a great neighborhood. My mother supported me keeping strictly kosher. We had a semi-kosher home, but not strictly kosher. When I was, I think, 12 or 13, she bought all new pots, pans, dishes, silverware for me to keep strictly kosher. She and my dad also supported my wishes to transfer to a Jewish day school, and all 3 of us did. She and my father supported me going to college or rabbinical school in Israel, which I did. She was very supportive, really, even from a young age, but she was very lax. When I stayed late out at night as a teen, it was my dad who ran running around town looking for me, not her. After my parents bought and did an investment, they bought a new house just for a couple of years before their plans to move to California. They moved out to the Rolling Meadows Schaumburg area for a short time. I realized every day I would come home, Mark and I had an apartment together, and I had a dog, and the dog would go crazy, jumping all over me. I was very close with my dog, but I wasn't home all day. It wasn't fair. He didn't even make a mess in the house. It just wasn't fair that he was home from early in the morning until late at night when I got home from working and graduate school. And so my mom said, bring the dog here, and they took my dog in, and my dog moved to California with them. They set up doggy doors in the house, and And here's an interesting thing, that they set up a bedroom for me there. And every summer break from teaching, I would spend a month in California by them. And every winter I would spend two weeks with them during winter break. And always, even though they didn't do anything different in the room, 2 weeks my mother would say to me, before I got to California, the dog would start sleeping in the room on my bed. And that was with no changing of beds or anything. Intuition of a dog. Instinct. Outside of seeing my friends who moved to California, my mom and dad let me make a new vacation home life there, reconnecting with my cousins and aunts and uncles in California with new friends and new shuls. My dad let me use the car always, as mom's vision diminished with her macular degeneration, and she always gave me the gas card. It was a win-win situation for me. I'd take her shopping and out to lunch often in exchange while I was there. As her sight and hearing got worse, it ended her working with my dad in the family office supply store and business in LA. And once I was married and with kids, it made me take much less frequent trips out there. But she loved my kids so much, and having them whenever she came here or we went there. And my 2 business trips to be a rabbi in Hawaii, that brought my family to Hawaii. The second one, we brought my mom and dad. My dad used his mileage and joined us. And we had a villa there and a van that were provided all for me. So we took my parents all around Hawaii. And though her vision was weak, she had a great time there. That was her one trip overseas, per se. By the way, she loved Lois so much, as my wife Lois was the one who took her long after we were married, as an adult, to get her ears pierced for the first time, and she loved it. We wore earrings all the time after that, and they weren't clip-ons anymore. She also loved jewelry. She had a jewelry cabinet that you opened up, and there were 4,000 necklaces hanging in it, many of them gold, and bracelets and everything. You never saw her without rings all over her fingers, necklaces and bracelets on both arms. And she was both known by name at the QVC call center. It's no joke. As a matter of fact, my father would say to me, "Sorry, we can't afford to visit you in Chicago because of QVC." I didn't mention, but I want to mention that when we moved to Des Plaines, it was really thanks to her mother. Her mother, Ethel, whose stepbrother's family are here today, my cousins, and aunt, and she really loaned my parents. She lived with us for a number of years until she got remarried to Al Siegel, who we loved, and was another grandfather to us. She loaned my parents the money to make the down payment. When you look at it today, that down payment was something that comes out of our pocket in 1 week. But then it was a lot of money, and my mom was working when we were kids, my dad was working, and if it weren't for her, we never would have been able to buy our first house in Des Plaines. So with the progression of her vision and hearing disabilities, my dad stepped up and came home from work every day to give her lunch and to eat with her. And he was home by dinner every night. Also, he took her to every one of her doctor appointments, took her shopping. He was the most devoted husband and caretaker I have ever met to the very end. My mother was always generous and loving to her nieces and nephews. And I loved her sister, my Aunt Karen's daughter, my late cousin Melissa, Allah Shalom. Lived with my parents when she was doing her clinicals as an occupational therapist. And then my cousin Robin, my dad's brother's daughter, lived with them for a period of time when she needed my mom's emotional support and a place to stay. My mom was devastated when Melissa passed away just about 2 years ago. And one of her sons is out of town right now, but her other son is here today. And Simon and Liam both know how dear they are to us. In the last few years and months, it was my dad who really became our hero. He not only retired to be able to care for her, but spent every minute with her 24/7. My cousin Marlene sent me a note from my dad's first cousin Marlene in California, sent me a note today and said, there's no question that mother was his only love throughout his whole life. She was very demanding, a tough person to live with, especially with no vision and little hearing. And even in the last months when she was more confused because her eyes were 98% gone and her hearing was 80% gone, he got her to Chicago when she said she's not getting on a plane in her condition. And she made it through Ilana and Menachem's wedding amazingly with flying colors because he was taking care of her every minute, and he got her back home safely. She was pretty independent in her little corner from bedroom to bathroom until she fell almost 2 months ago, developed those wounds and infections in rehab and the tremendous pain that she suffered. But there was my dad at her side before 8 a.m. until almost 9 p.m. every night through it all, until her body finally shut down. So many people admired my dad from his teaching them at Ida Crown Jewish Academy, Chicago Jewish Academy, or from teaching them at Lane Tech, but nobody knew better what a hero he is than my mom. He was her hero and our hero. I was blessed to visit her 3 weeks ago for the last time with my brother Craig and my dad to spend the day with her. I have to thank my cousins Robin and Danny in LA for always insisting I stay with them when I come to California and being there for me since my parents retired 2 hours away from them. Robin says she insists on that because my mom and dad were always there for her. Mom, we're amazed you held on so long with the discomfort you endured. Maybe you did so you could be laid to rest on your father's yard site, Shushan Purim, which is today. This is the anniversary of her father's death this very day. Please forgive us and grant us mechila for causing you any of that pain. Or if there was something we didn't do for you that we should have done for you. And please be a Melitz Yosher intermediary with Hashem. May God should grant our dad, our Aunt Karen, and all of us good health for many years to come, and no more sorrow for decades to come. Have a great reunion with your parents, your grandparents, Melissa, Rochelle and Mickey, and Judy and Bert. Also, Mom, we ask you to beseech God to grant safety to our Chayalim, our soldiers in Gaza and Israel, for freedom to the captives that we pray for every day will be released, and for Hashem to grant true peace. We love you, Mom, and always will. I'll visit you often in your new home near your parents and near Melissa. And on behalf of my brothers, my aunt, my family. Thank you for all the love and care you have always given us selflessly. May your soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Amen. I get to come upstairs.
Firstly, I want to thank everyone who took time out of their busy day to come and join us in this time of reflection. I first want to thank my wonderful grandson by marriage, Menachem Seal. Without his help, I would not be here. My flight to California was delayed, from California, was delayed 2 hours, and I missed my connecting flight. I called, and Menachem went to work. He got a flight an hour and a half later and got me here this morning. Thank you so much, Menachem. I cannot also go without saying how much my daughter-in-law Lois and my grandchildren spent with me on the phone this last 3 months, worrying about Barbara's health, and when she was in rehab, every day on the phone, 2 to 3 times a day, how's she doing, what's going on? And when she finally was really sick, they followed her medical record online and gave me more information than I could get from the doctors and nurses in the hospital. Thank you so much. Now to get to the nitty-gritty. And I'm going to sort of take liberty with some of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. Nearly 77 years ago, on July 19th, 1937, a little girl named Barbara was born. 3 months and 10 days later, a thing that she never let me forget and applauded over me any chance she got. A little boy named Stuart was born. And fate started its journey. A score later, fate intervened, and they met in a bowling alley in downtown Chicago at the University of Roosevelt University school event. And she turned to her girlfriend, Rochelle, when she heard me say, "It's another strike!" He said to Rochelle, "I'm going to marry that guy." Damn if she didn't. She chased me till she got me. Well, 64 years more, we finished our journey together. But let me tell you, in those years, there were good days, there were better days. There were great days and even greater days, but there were never bad days. She was the love of my life, she was my companion, my passion, and I gave her everything I could for as long as I could. I certainly hope that those of you here have the same opportunity do the same. May you all be blessed in life, and thank you again for coming.
So my youngest scholar, my 4 scholars, she just got back a couple months ago from a month in Israel volunteering with her senior class from Crowd, and has had some amazing things happen in her life that none of us will ever experience. And she's preparing now for not only her first year of college in Israel, but in seminary, but to return, following the footsteps of her sisters, and very proud of her that she was willing to say sports.
Our grandma was a woman we will never forget. Her Hebrew name Fagel, meaning bird in Yiddish, reflected her resilient spirit and unwavering strength throughout her life. She represented a strong Zelden female role model for me and my 3 sisters. As a mother of 3 boys and countless cats, Grandma was known for her determination and strict, yet loving, nature. She faced challenges head-on, much like how my sisters would all recall that an earthquake in the early 2000s sent them and my dad running for cover, while she continued her daily routine unfazed by the swinging chandeliers in her LA living room. We hold dear memories of Grandma, like her love of feeling beautiful despite challenges with her vision in her later years. She always took pride in combing her hair and painting her nails. It was just before Alana's wedding that she was telling me how she still painted her nails, but with clear nail polish, unlike her past colorful nails that I remember. One of Grandma's joys was having her hair done, never going anywhere without her hair combed. We fondly remember moments like watching her get a blowout before Alana's wedding, a testament to her timeless elegance. Grandma shared many adventures with us, from trips to Disneyland, Las Vegas, and Hawaii, to spending time with her on her and Grandpa's giant bed, watching QVC on the television, along with her favorite kids. She always admired her purchases and showed us her new buys and gadgets that she and Grandpa had ordered. For instance, she had the first zhuzher before the immersion blender became the hottest kitchen tool. Her love for cats and passion for sharing stories about them also brought us closer. We will never forget trying to find where Twinkie, Shadow, and the other cats were hiding in the house. Grandma's devotion and love for Grandma was evident from their meeting over 60 years ago until her last day, spending every day together, caring for her with tenderness and ensuring her comfort. We even saw this as he pushed Grandma in her wheelchair to Shul on the rough sidewalks of West Rogers Park during Alana's Shabbos Shepherd Brachot. Their special bond has always inspired us. Although Alana and Menachem were blessed to have Grandma walk down the aisle at their wedding, we know she will be with us, watching over us in all our future milestones. Though she is no longer physically with us, we take comfort knowing that Grandma is reunited with her beloved parents, her best friend Rochelle, and her dear niece Melissa, who we all miss so very much. We will always cherish our Grandma's caring heart, love for family, and the beautiful memories we shared together. Grandma, your legacy of strength, your love and resilience will forever inspire me and the family. We love you very much and will carry you in our hearts forever.
I was very blessed to grow up not only with so many friends, relatives, and cousins are here from California, which means a lot. And my dad's first cousin, Judy, went to her eternal home last week. Judy said to me, "Your mom and I are in a race." grew up in the Carl's house, Judy's brother's house, and Judy's children being so close to me, and many of them are here today. I'm so blessed for that. And then the other house I grew up in was the home of Sheldon Kirshner. And Mark and I still get together numerous times throughout the month on a regular basis. And I'm with the whole family, and their grandson-in-law is now my assistant rabbi, and he's going to do the closing prayer, the closing psalm today for us. But right now, I thought it was going to be appropriate that for the last time, I'm able to recite a blessing for my mother from the book of Proverbs, Mishle, the same blessing that's recited traditionally at the Shabbos table. Eshes chayu yimsad rachu b'pnim Batach b'alei b'ala v'shalom lo yatzar V'lasu tov v'lo ra Kol yemei chaya Darshat sever fishi Atash v'chayvetz kapel V'yisa gam yostocher Imercha tavilachma V'takam be'olayla V'titan teref lefeisa v'chol marosah Zama masata vatikachehu, Ikricha be'latakaret, Charavios masna, Vata'am be'zorosa, Tamakito sachra, Lo yichbe v'layla nera, Yadea shilcha v'kishor, V'kabel tamchuf alach, Kapat parsa li'ani, V'yadea shilcha levu, V'sirvesa mishalai, Kiko Besa Lavushani, Marvani Masa Sala, Sheish Viargaman Lavusha, Nada Bashari Bala, Bishifto Imzigne Ares, Sadi Nasa Savatinkor, Vechagor Nasa Lakanani, Ozvada Lavusha, Batis Rachleon Acharon, Pia Pasma Bechochma, Bisoras Nased Alashon. Sophia Michos Besa, Lachnatis Bosochel, Kamu Valev Yashua, Ba'ala, Vayala, Rabbos Pamus Asuchaya, Yatalis, Akulana, Sheker Achen, Behevel Yofi, Isha Yiras Adonai, Isis Allah, Tinula, I translate a portion of these words. A woman of valor who can find. Her worth is far above jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and nothing shall be lacked. She renders him good and not evil all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the needy and extends her hand to the poor. She is robed in strength and dignity and cheerfully faces whatever may come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, her tongue is guided by kindness. She tends the affairs of her household, eats not the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her, her husband too. He praises her, saying, Many women have done superbly, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but the God of her woman is much to be praised. Place before her the fruit of her hands. Wherever people gather, her deeds will always speak her praise. Amen. Psalm 16 will be the final psalm of our service, and then I'll say a memorial prayer, though the Calvary cannot be said today because of the holiday.
Zayin, Mechtam David. Guard me, God, for you I have taken refuge. You have said to the Lord, You are my Lord, I have no good beyond you. As for the holy ones who are in the earth, and the mighty in whom is all my desire, their sorrows will multiply, Those that run to other gods, their blood libations will not pour out, nor take their names upon my lips. The Lord is my allotted portion and my share. You sustain my faith. Portions have fallen to me in pleasant places. Lovely indeed is my estate. I will bless the Lord who has given me counsel. My conscience admonishes me at night. I have set the Lord before me always. Because God is at my right hand, I shall not falter. Therefore my heart rejoices, and my entire being exalts. Also my body will rest secure, for you will not abandon me to the grave, nor will you let your devout one see destruction. You will make known to me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. There is delight at your right hand for eternity. I'm just going to read it in Hebrew. Kilos azov nam shmishot kilos titin kasi cholios shakas tuteini orachaim solos machos es benachon imos b'mit b'netzach.
Please stand as I recite this alternative memorial prayer. Adon ha-salichos, Chanuvrach u'merchabayim rav chesed, Amtzecha paras peshra gravas yeshuducha nechona tachas kafei ashkina, V'malos kedoshim v'torm gezorakia masir mes nishmas, Imi morasi, Fe'ol bas Shimon, Shalcha le'olama, Anabal rachmim zachvar l'harim tova chosku yosel, Zikosel bartos l'chaim, Sachla sharing tzedek v'ra sharing chema v'chanina, Sesek nefecha hastiraha l'olamim, Utzor chaim es nishmasa, HaKadosh Baruch Hu nachal asa, Zaruach v'shalom nishkava, v'nomar. Amen. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure, the soul of Imi Morasi, Fadel Shimon Ve'eta Aleh Shalom. My dear mother, Barbara Joy Zelden of blessed memory, who's going to read her home. Master of mercy, beseech you remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that she performed in the land of the living. May your soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life, for Hashem, God, is her portion. May she rest in peace. May her lessons always inspire us. And let us all say, Amen. Please be seated. The funeral director, Fred Lloyd Mandel from Pittsburgh Memorial Funerals, is going to give us instructions for those who are able to join us at the graveside where the service will continue in Shalom Memorial Park.
The interment will take place at Shalom Memorial Park, located on Wilkie Road, north of Rand Road in Arlington Heights. We will be forming a funeral procession in the parking lot. If you're not going to the cemetery, we ask that you go to your cars and leave the parking lot as soon as you can. You'll drive with your high beam headlights on, your flashers on. We will either flag or put a sticker in your car. Please drive defensively, even though you're allowed to go through a red light. Don't assume that the cars see that there's a funeral procession. After the interment, the shibboleth will be taking place starting this evening at Or Menorah. That information is on the bottom of your pamphlets. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise, and if I could have pallbearers open up and
I've got 4 right here. Trevor, please.
Hendrickson.